process started, and if I'm being completely honest, it didn't go much farther uphill than that. So this is the second time we have decided to render our own beef tallow, and it did not go successfully as the first. So if you are clicking on this video for some expert advice, you chose the wrong video. If you are looking to see how easy the process is, even for a bunch of random people who have no idea what they're doing, well then great, you've come to the right place. And I mean that both in rendering beef tallow, we have no idea what we're doing to a certain extent, and also we have no idea how to film videos yet, so some of these clips are just absolutely perfect. But with all of that being said, this is the second time we've done it, and we decided to purify it more than what we have done in the past. So that means adding more salt and water and baking soda to have the layers separate and we can get all of the impurities out. I will also preface it by saying I feel like it didn't yield that much better of a result in a sense of purified beef tallow, and it did reduce our yield compared to what we got last time. So take that with what you will. Like I said, process is super easy, and I hope you enjoy watching the video.
So we obviously started out with cutting the pieces of beef fat so it was easier for them to both fit in the crock pot but then also be rendered down.
Why are we doing it outside?
Because it smells really, really bad.
Then to the beef fat we decided to add water and salt.
What are you setting it to?
I'm not really sure.
What do you mean?
It's on high right now, but we'll see.
We ended up keeping the beef fat on high for about 10 hours and every once in a while mixing the beef fat just to make sure we were able to render all of it down.
We could also pick pieces out.
I mean, like from here. Or what?
Yeah, or even some of the larger pieces.
Now this part of the process is really where our amateur level of expertise is shown. We started out by just using a cheesecloth to filter our beef fat and tallow, but then we ended up switching it up partway through. And you can also see our amateur video skills with great shots of Justin's elbow. So we did start out by picking the pieces out with a spoon, but then we got the bright idea to use a strainer, which worked perfectly. Then we added more water to the tallow to purify it, and we put the beef fat back into the crock pot to make sure that we were able to get a higher yield with all of our beef fat. Then we let our beef tallow sit overnight, and we were able to pop this particular disc out and the other one we actually needed to cut into because it didn't flip up as easily. Then after we scraped off all of the impurities that were left at the bottom, and we also rinsed them off to make them easier to work with. And after that, we put them all back into a pot, added more water, melted it down, and then once again added some salt and let it sit overnight to harden again. We ended up repeating this process a total of 3 times to make sure that we got it as clean as possible. And as I'll explain more at the end, we feel like this was maybe a bit excessive on our part, but we wanted to see how pure we could really get our beef tallow.
We ended up using 10 pounds of beef fat. We ended up yielding about 4 pounds of tallow. So that's a ratio of about 2 to 5 or 5 to 2, whatever order you want to put that. And when we looked it up, we were on the lower end of the yield. So we ended up getting about 10 cups, and you're supposed to get 1 to 2 cups of tallow per pound of beef fat that you render down, essentially. So we were on the low end of that ratio, which is kind of disappointing, and we did have a higher ratio last time that we did it. Overall, though, we still made out ahead when it comes to cost per gram of beef tallow compared to even something like butter, if we're comparing those types of things. So we got 10 pounds of the beef fat for $10, so it was $1 per pound. We did recently call the place that we got this from back in October, and they did increase the price. They actually doubled the price, which is quite frustrating, but it's fine. And then we actually got, it was grass fed, but grain finished, which I feel like the people among the homesteading community say that you need grass fed and grass finished. Granted, I still need to learn the difference between those and why that's important, which we understand that the grain should be at least sourced well, but if it is, why does it matter if it's grain compared to grass finished? And that is something that I'm very curious to learn more about. So if you have any comments regarding that, feel free to leave them below. But overall, we are very happy with the quality of the beef fat that we got. And like I said, it's cheaper per gram. So at the end of the day, the initial price of this is about 56 cents per 100 grams. And unfortunately, with the increased cost, they said it would be double the price. So that means it would be $1.12 per 100 grams, which is right around the same price right now as butter. So I think this is a great alternative, and it can taste great, particularly when you are preparing other things like popcorn or vegetables or meat, and it doesn't burn quite as easily. So that's something that we've really been enjoying, and we think more people should at least give it a try. So thanks for watching, and I hope you join us for our next video, which we will be going over how we make popcorn at home.